Before Maxwell Caulfield was heating up the TV screen on Dynasty and Michelle Pfeiffer was all leathered up as Catwoman in Batman Returns, they were playing a clean-cut British exchange student trying to win the heart of a leather-clad biker chick. It's the kind of role reversal and high school sequel logic that was only plausible in the 1980s, and we loved every second of it. So put on your bowling shoes, rev up your motorcycle, and meet us at Rydell High as Chris McMitchen, Bethany Wells, and I discuss Grease 2 from 1982 on this episode of the 80s Flick Flashback Podcast. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am your host, Tim Williams. As always, I'm thrilled to have two top-tier co-hosts joining me tonight. First, a guy who may have traded in his T-Bird jacket for a sport coat, but he still knows how to be a cool writer. Please welcome back to the show, Mr. Chris McMitchen. How you doing, Chris?
Good, Tim. Glad to be here, representing the T-Birds. That's always good.
And returning as well, she knows how to rule the halls better than the Pink Ladies, the amazing Bethany Wells. How you doing, Bethany?
I am just great. I've had cool writers stuck in my head all day. What could be better?
That's not a bad thing, I don't think.
I told Ruby that I'm pretty sure Cool Rider is the best song of both movies. Like, arguably, one of the best songs of both movies.
All right, hot takes starting early. Okay, I'm be ready for the fan mail or the hate mail. We'll see what happens. So,
bring it.
Well, I couldn't think of a better pair to break it all down. So let's dive into Grease 2. I haven't really done this before, but I thought this was good to do like a little synopsis. But if you don't know about Grease 2, because it is maybe not one of the most familiar 80s movies, except for those of us that watched it over and over again on HBO. It's a 1982 American musical romantic comedy film and a standalone sequel to the 1978 film Grease, adapted from the 1971 musical of the same name by Jim Jacobs and Warren Casey. It was originally titled More Grease, and the film was produced by Alan Carr and Robert Stigwood and directed and choreographed by Patricia Birch. The plot returns to Rydell High School 2 years after the original film's graduation, with a largely new cast led by Maxwell Caulfield and Michelle Pfeiffer in her first starring role. So, let's jump right in. I'll start with Chris. Chris, when did you see Grease 2 for the very first time?
I saw this one as a HBO kind of special, like you said, I'm sure. I know I didn't see it in the theaters. It was, at the time it came out, I was still a kid. And, I think we saw Grease, the original Grease, in the theaters. But I think that when the second one came around, it just wasn't, I don't know if it wasn't hyped up as much, or my parents, having us all seen the first one, were a little bit hesitant to take me to the second one, which is very possible. This one, it aired on the side of a little dirtier than the first one too, in some ways, Yeah. So I think that I know that I saw it not in a theater, but several times, like you said, after that.
What about you, Bethany?
So I definitely did not see it in theaters.
No, you were not even born yet.
I was not born. And so I'm trying to think. I was obsessed with the first movie. It came on TBS, and I remember I was a weird 7-year-old in my bedroom reenacting Summer Lovin'. And then I found out there was Grease 2, and so I had to see that. And just somewhere along the way, I think it may have come on like a free HBO weekend. I was just like, Grease 2, what could be better?
They're going to do it again.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, I was trying to think earlier today. I don't know which one I saw first. If I saw Grease first or I saw Grease 2 first, because It was definitely one that was on HBO a lot. I don't remember if I saw Grease, the first Grease on HBO, but Grease 2 played a ton. And my sister, my older sister, was 100% obsessed. Like we tell stories about how I was obsessed with Star Wars because it would play all the time. My sister has a story about her coming downstairs in the basement, or like our family room was downstairs. It was like a split level house. But anyway, and the TV was down there, and she would come home from school and I'd be sitting in front of the TV reciting the dialogue of Star Wars with the TV. And she was like, "You've seen this way too many times." But I have memories of her watching Grease 2 and her singing along to Cool Rider. So, and my dad being so upset because he did not want her to be in love with a motorcyclist, because he had a friend, I think a friend of his in high school, that died in a motorcycle accident. So logic as a dad, but of course my sister, being the preteen that she was at the time, was like, "I don't care what you say, I want a Cool Rider." Like, she was all into it. So but I remember seeing Grease, but I remember having a cousin, Anthony, who had the soundtrack. And so he would like to play the soundtrack a lot. And so I knew the music, I think, before I saw the movie, but Grease 2, I definitely knew. So, but how long has it been since you rewatched it before rewatching it today for the podcast? We'll go with you this time, Bethany.
I think I watched it in the last year or so.
Okay.
Somebody brought it up and I was just like, yeah, I haven't watched that in so long. And I remember it not being great, but I do remember enjoying it. Let me watch it again, and watching it again and just being like, wow, this is something else.
What about you, Chris?
It's been a long while. I mean, it's been, I guess you could say it's fallen out of popular opinion. So it's, it's a little harder to find even out there now. But it has been a long time. Probably, I would say maybe 20 years since I've seen it. I mean, it's been a long time. But I still remembered it pretty well as I was going through it. I mean, it sticks with you, certainly. But it's been a good minute.
Yeah, it's kind of the same for me. I bought a 2-pack of like the original Grease and Grease 2 as like a combo probably like a year ago, but I went back and watched Grease 1, but I didn't watch Grease 2 because I knew we were going to do it for the podcast. But I would say like before then, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, by chance found it on YouTube or saw it on one of the streamers, or like, but kind of like you, Chris, like from the beginning, there were certain lines that I knew just popped out of my mouth, like didn't even like muscle memory. Like I didn't know that I remembered that line, but I'd hear one line, like I knew the next line that was coming. So,
and songs are that way too.
Oh,
you hear
for
the
sure,
song,
yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, I can sing along with this one, even though it's been 20 years.
Yeah, right. And now that I think about it, I think I did watch it like about 10 years ago, because I remembered when the, I guess the Sex Education song came on. I was like, oh, I remember when this came on, like that. I don't remember that as much as a kid. Like that went way over my head. So like, it's not one of the songs that I necessarily remembered as much as the other ones. And that's the funny thing about watching it now, is like the songs that I liked were the ones that like I somewhat related to, but like the ones that are like Chris said, a little bit more sexual or mature in nature than maybe the first movie was, those I don't remember as well, because as a kid I was like, I don't know what they're talking about, so I'm not as into it. So, but
that's pretty crazy, because the first movie is also pretty sexual and mature. It's a little more nuanced. Right. This movie kind of beats you over the hammer with it.
This one's a little more heavy-handed.
This one, trust me. Yeah, they do.
A lot more innuendo than I think I remembered. But you're right, because I remember like when I think the original Grease, this was probably like back. This might have been in 2020 when like they were showing a lot of older movies on TV because everything was shut down. But I remember Grease was going to come on like ABC or like one of like the big networks was like, "Ooh, Hannah, you should have watched this," because she was getting into like musicals and stuff. And we got like maybe 30 minutes in, my Tyra was like, "Are we sure she should be watching this?" And I'm like, you know what? I think I know what's coming, and you're probably right. So so I don't think she's ever seen the full version, but yeah. All right, well, it's time for us to put our 80s flick behind the scenes knowledge to the ultimate test. It's time to play Risky Quizness.
Risky Quizness. Risky Quizness.
I've got 5 statements about the story, origin, and pre-production of Grease 2, and you have to let me know if you think they are true or false. Listeners, feel free to play along as Chris and Bethany try to come out on top. So you guys can definitely work as a team to work together to see if you can determine if these are true or false statements. Are you ready to play?
Let's do it.
Sure.
All right. Number 1, true or false? The film's director, Patricia Birch, was the original choreographer for the first Grease film and the original Broadway musical. True or false? No Googling.
I feel like I remembered something like that. It feels true to me. What do you think, Chris?
I don't know. This movie was a good ways away from the Broadway show. So, I mean, it's entirely possible. I don't know. I don't know. That'll be my answer. I don't know.
Well, you got to come to a consensus.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say true then. Sure.
Okay. Trust your partner, Chris. Yes, it is true. She transitioned from choreography on the original Grease to make her feature film directorial debut with Grease 2. It was also the only movie she ever directed. But anyway. All right.
Weird.
Yeah. Number 2, true or false? Michelle Pfeiffer was the studio's very first choice for the role of Stephanie, and she accepted the part immediately without needing an audition. True or false?
I'm a very good test taker, and my true or false bells are ringing, which makes me think that is false. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I don't think that, at the very minimum, I think is this her first role, that she would have had to have some kind of audition going on. So I'm going to say false as well.
All right. You guys are 2 for 2. That's right. While she ultimately won the role, Pfeiffer had to go through an extensive audition and screen test process, singing and dancing for the producers before landing her breakout part. Cher initially signed up to play in the movie, but backed out, complaining of a low salary and not having a finished script. Jennifer Beals also was thought to be in the movie, but dropped out to play the lead character in Flashdance instead. So a few other names.
I think that worked out for her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she probably made the right decision.
Yeah, and I think I read like they really weren't like sold on her, but they said she had a quirkiness or like a certain quality they just couldn't like deny, which I think comes through because she's really, to me, like the shining star of the production. Like she stands out above everybody else for sure. Mm-hmm. And I was telling Laramie, we were talking about this recording coming up a couple of nights ago, and it was funny because as many times as I saw it as a kid, then like later in the 80s when Michelle Pfeiffer became more well known, I completely forgot that that's who that was in that movie until, probably in the 90s. I was like, when I saw it again, and I was like, I had no idea that was Michelle Pfeiffer in that role. So before she was famous. So, all right, you're doing good. 2 for 2. So next one, number 3, true or false? Maxwell Caulfield actually did all of his own motorcycle stunt driving during the climax at the Luau. True or false?
I don't know. I'm going to say that's false because they jumped over that whole pool. That's pretty intense. So yeah, I'm going to go false for liability's sake.
I'll stick with Chris because I don't know.
You are correct. It is false. As a matter of fact, he did not even know how to ride a motorcycle when he was cast, and a stunt double handled the heavy-duty riding sequences. According to his stunt double, Gary Davis, Michelle Pfeiffer did perform her own stunts in the famous Lone Rider Stephanie romantic motorcycle ride. He said, she sat behind me when I lifted her around to where she straddled me, and then we wheeled away. She was wonderful the whole time. Like, that's a dangerous thing to do. But, your first move, you're like, sure, I'll do it. I'm not gonna say no to anything at this point. So, yeah.
He really helps, so he has those goggles on and that helmet.
Oh, yeah.
So, you really can't tell if it's a stunt double or him any of the time.
He really is a different person when he's on a motorcycle.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Kind of going back to the, we talked about in our Teen Wolf episode. No, neither you guys. Well, no, you guys weren't on that one. But Michael J. Fox's like basketball stunt double in the wolf outfit. I'm like, he's 2 feet taller than Michael J. Fox, and so the thing was like, when he turns into werewolf, does he actually become taller, or is he the same size? But anyway, Go back to that episode. You want to hear that fun little conversation. All right. All right. So far, you're in the win column. You're 3 for 3. Let's go with number 4. True or false? The iconic song Cool Rider was originally written for Olivia Newton-John to perform in the first Grease after being cut and repurposed for the sequel. True or false?
Ooh, that's tough.
I want to say no, just because that song's not in the musical. But it could have been something they wrote and added to the musical. They didn't really add a whole lot.
No, they added just a couple of things. You know, her ballad song wasn't in the original.
Mm-hmm.
And but I mean in the first one.
Right.
My first thought was no too, so I say we stick with that.
Yeah.
They're on a streak. That is false. The song was written specifically for Grease 2 by composers Brian Potter and Tom Snow to serve as Stephanie's defining anthem, which it surely was.
It also doesn't fit Sandy. Like, Sandy...
No, not at all. I was like, this is the easiest question on here. They'll get this one right away. Okay.
We're just looking for the trick question, Tim.
Yeah. That's why I love this game so much. You guys think way too hard about stuff. Yeah. All right. Last one. Let's see if you get a clean sweep. True or false? The infamous Reproduction classroom song sequence was inspired by actual sex education instructional films shown in American high schools during the late 1950s and 60s. True or false?
That feels true.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a clean sweep, everybody. What a team. What a team. Yes, the filmmakers modeled the bizarre, highly stylized biological breakdown on the overly literal, quirky educational films of that era with a heavy dose of Hollywood camp, which they sure did. So, All right, well, let us know how you did. If you played along at home, send us a comment on the social medias or leave us a comment right here on YouTube if that's where you're watching the show. So, all right, that was fun. I don't rarely get somebody that gets all 5 right, but that was good, especially when, you know, this is not a movie that most people know a whole lot of behind the scenes about. So, good job. Good job. All right.
Like I said, I'm a very good test taker.
Yeah. All right, well, let's jump into the cast. There were a lot of people in the cast. I'm going to hit like the main people that we will, you know, recognize. I'll skip over some people that really didn't have much after this movie. But of course, the lead roles we talked about already. Maxwell Caulfield as Michael Carrington. After Grease 2, he appeared in Electric Dreams in 84, The Boys Next Door in 85, Sundown, The Vampire in Retreat in 89. Go figure that one out. Gettysburg 93, Empire Records in 95, The Man Who Knew Too Little in 97, but he's best remembered internationally for a starring role as Miles Colby during the 1980s on the American TV series Dynasty and its spinoff, The Colbys, which I remember when this came on TV, like he was very popular on the Dynasty show. We all knew who he was, and going back and seeing him in this was like, it's kind of funny. So reportedly he won the lead male role over Sean Cassidy, Greg Evigan, Andy Gibb, and Rick Springfield.
Good for him.
Which Andy Gibb is the only British one of the 3, so he would probably pull it off. I don't know if I want to hear Rick Springfield or Greg Evigan with a British accent. Probably would have been pretty terrible.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think they cared what his actual, like, background was. Like, I think they would have made him whoever... Because Sandy was supposed to be Australian.
And I was going to bring that up. Like, they're cousins, but one's Australian and one's British, which I guess Britain and Australia have some kind of connection, but they're not that
Sure, but
close.
Why? Like, what was the point?
And that connection was long, long ago in history.
Right. So
long before those two.
Yeah. But it's, you know, notorious, of course, in the 70s and 80s, any kind of accent could be anything. I mean, you go back to Highlander, Sean Connery, who's definitely, you know, supposed to be from Spain, and he's got this heavy Irish accent, Scottish accent. So, yeah. All right. But according to Maxwell, he said Grease 2 damaged his career severely. He's been quoted as saying, before Grease 2 came out, I was being hailed as the next Richard Gere or John Travolta. However, when Grease 2 flopped, nobody would touch me. It felt like a bucket of cold water had been thrown in my face. It took me 10 years to get over Grease 2. I'm like, but you had a hit TV show, so did it really hurt you? But, you know, but you were also in Sundown, The Vampire in Retreat in 89, so I'll give it...
Yeah.
I don't know. Michelle Pfeiffer did fine.
Yeah.
She moved on from Grease 2 just fine.
Just fine. All right, speaking of Michelle Pfeiffer, she's next on the list. So she stars as Stephanie. This was her first leading role. Her breakthrough, though, came with her portrayal of Elvira Hancock in Scarface the year later in 1983. Other mainstream success followed with The Witches of Eastwick in 1987, Tequila Sunrise in 1988, and Married to the Mob in 1988. In the early 90s, she was one of the world's highest paid actresses, playing Catwoman in Batman Returns in 1992. She continued to star in prominent films throughout the decade, including Frankie and Johnny in 1991 with Al Pacino, The Age of Innocence in 1993, and Wolf with Jack Nicholson in 1994. So, of course, Dangerous Minds in 1995. She came back in the 2000s for What Lies Beneath, White Oleander, Hairspray, and Stardust in 2007. So, but yeah, so let's talk about our two leads. Chemistry, yes or no?
I think she had some great chemistry with the stunt double.
Yeah.
Even when they start to kind of become friends, like it doesn't seem like she's interested. Like she does a really good job of portraying like, hey, I finally kind of see the appeal of you. Hey, maybe I would want to get to know you. He just kind of doesn't change ever.
No.
Yeah, I think the closest was in the diner scene, you know, where they're doing the little tutoring part, and she's finally she's starting to understand at least, hey, you got some value because you're really smart. And he said, well, you're actually pretty smart too, because you know these things, you're just not putting them in these, you know, long English words that I have. So, but other than that, it's pretty forced. I guess it's a good word. It's pretty forced.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is pretty forced. I would agree with that. So yeah.
Even that at the luau, that kiss is really forced. Didn't y'all feel that too? I mean, at the end,
there were a lot of kisses in this movie that felt forced and weird.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. If I can be honest, I don't think any of the couples had any real chemistry. Like it was just, you know, not to say anything bad about like high school theater, but you know, like you just got kids that can sing and dance, just put them together and hopefully, you know, some magic will happen. That's kind of what it felt like. The prerequisites for casting, it was like, can you sing, can you dance, or can you be funny? Then
you're roughly the same height, so it'll work.
There you go. Yeah. All right, moving right along with the T-Birds. So, of course, as Johnny, we've got Adrian Zmed. Zmed's first major acting gig was the role of Johnny in the National Touring Company production of Grease. He later appeared in the Broadway musical 3 times, twice in the role of Danny Zuko. So he's a Grease alum. So he didn't reach celebrity status until his TV role in T.J. Hooker in the 80s with the great William Shatner. He made guest appearances on a number of TV shows throughout the 80s and 90s. After T.J. Hooker was canceled by ABC in 85, he was offered the job of host of Dance Fever, which I remember in its final 2 seasons. But yeah, I remembered him from Dance Fever. I didn't never watch T.J. Hooker as a kid, but yeah, we watched Dance Fever right after Solid Gold came on in like Sunday or Saturday afternoons, way before your time, Bethany.
I'm just smiling and nodding.
Yeah, that's right.
This
YouTube,
sounds nice.
It's probably
Words
on
are
YouTube
nice.
somewhere. Yeah. Did you watch those, Chris, or was that something y'all had on at your house?
We saw some, you know, T.J. Hooker. I was more of a fan at the time of William Shatner, of course, because of all the Star Trek stuff. But I think, you know, back to this movie, I think that Adrian did a good job. I think he was the most believable. I think of all the characters, aside from maybe, you know, Stephanie Zinone. I thought maybe he would have been a good second place. I hate to take that away from Mr. Lead, but I just kind of felt that way about his portrayal. It's pretty good.
I just feel like they didn't know what to do with his character. Like he was all over the place.
All over the place. Yeah.
Especially
like
with
he did a good
relationships.
job, but
he had his hand in, you know, 2 or 3 relationships.
He was definitely like the best dancer of like the leads, you know, and like musician. Like his singing was really good.
He could sing.
but I think he was like the ham of the group. Like he hammed up every single scene. Like he was, but Broadway.
That's the movie he was in.
Yeah, that's the movie. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That is true. So, all right. The only other T-Bird that we would know is Christopher McDonald as Goose. Of course, he's best known for his villainous role as professional golfer Shooter McGavin in the 1996 sports comedy Happy Gilmore, which he reprised in the 2025 sequel. He's also acted in films such as Thelma and Louise in 91, Quiz Show in 94, Leave It to Beaver in 97, Flubber in 97, Requiem for a Dream in 2000, and The House Bunny in 2008. But yeah,
The House Bunny's so good.
But yeah, I like watching him in this. Like before I did the research, I was like, I know he's been in other stuff, but it just those like Shooter McGavin and Goose. It was hard. We have the big meme right now. Same actor, by the way. Like I need a that'll be my social media post. Like Shooter McGavin and Goose, same actor, by the way. Just a couple of a decade or two in between. But he was good.
Yeah, we were trying to explain him to Ruby, and I was like, he's just kind of a bad guy in everything. He's very smarmy. And she was like, what does that even mean? And I was like, I don't know. Just look at him.
Yes,
look at him.
How old is Ruby now?
Swarmy, yeah.
Smarmy.
That's right.
How old is Ruby now?
That's a good word for a 13.
13. Just turned 13.
That's right. Okay, yeah. That's a good word for a 13-year-old to know. I'd say that's probably, yeah. You're swarmy. Stay away from the swarmy guys.
Please.
All right, and then for the pink ladies, we've got Lorna Luft as Paulette. You see behind Bethany there. She didn't really do a lot of other movies, but I did not know she is the daughter of Julie Garland and Sidney Luft, the sister of Joey Luft, and the half sister of Liza Minnelli.
She is.
Yeah.
That is why I was very excited. I was like, she's Judy Garland's daughter.
Right.
She's Lorna Luft. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was excited. I love Judy Garland. That's why I'm really excited.
Somewhere over the rainbow, yes. But she could definitely sing. Like her singing sections was like, okay, I was like, before I did the research, just watching the movie, I was like, she had to have had some kind of Broadway background as how she got in. She's very much like Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors. The movie version was Ellen Green, who played her on Broadway. Like you could tell there was like real chops there. It wasn't just an actor they found that could carry a tune. So yeah.
And some range. They gave her some of the higher. They gave her some of the higher things, in the sequences, and she was on top of it.
Oh yeah. And she did really good. Like she once again, like a character or an actress, I thought I would have seen more after this. She played the role very well. She had many more Broadway credits than any kind of like Hollywood credits. So.
Right.
And then the only other one I'll mention is in this movie she's Pamela Siegel, but she's known now as Pamela Adlon as Dolores, the youngest one. She's appeared in numerous films since making her acting debut in Grease 2. Her subsequent films include Say Anything in '89, which she had a very small role in that movie. She was also in Bed of Roses in '96, Lucky 13 in 2005, Bumblebee in 2018, and The King of Staten Island in 2020. What most people may not know is she's known for voicing Bobby Hill in the animated comedy series King of the Hill.
Oh.
So yeah, she's done a lot of voice work, but she's like if you saw the picture of her now, you'd be like, oh, I've seen, like she's been in a bunch of stuff, but more like really like supporting characters or like guest spots on TV shows and stuff. But halfway through filming, she was actually in a car accident on the way to set. Most of her scenes were already filmed, but stand-ins were used for some scenes, such as the talent show sequence. So kind of sad there, but yeah. Very funny. So now I'll kind of cover those who returned from Grease 1. So those who were also in the first Grease, of course, were Didi Khan as Frenchie, Eve Arden as Principal McGee, Dodie Goodman as Blanche Hodel, the principal's assistant. Then you got Sid Caesar as Coach Calhoun, Eddie Deason as Eugene Felnick, Dick Patterson, who played Mr. Rudy in the original, plays Mr. Spears, and then Dennis Stewart, who played Scorpions member Leo in the original, plays Balmudo, which I didn't even realize it wasn't the same guy. Like I thought it was the same. Like I'm like, he's still harassing people. Like he's got to be 40 by now.
He's like, he was 40 in the first movie.
Yeah.
That's what I thought too. Like, what's his angle?
Yeah. I will say, like, especially when I started watching this, I was like, okay, we know they were adults in Grease. It's like they went even more adult. Like, none of these look like they're in high school except for, like, Dolores and the youngest kid. I'm like, they're the ones that are truly like seniors in high school. Everybody else is like, collecting 401k at this point. I mean, not back then, but
at least Michelle Pfeiffer was in her early 20s, which like
yeah.
I mean, I swear. But no, most of them look like they're in their 30s.
Yeah. Can we ask for?
I swear, go ahead.
How stupid is Eugene that he's still in school? And I mean, I thought that aren't nerds supposed to be inherently, smart? And wouldn't he have graduated with the rest of that class from the first movie?
You'd think, wouldn't you? Yeah.
You'd think.
He got too busy like being pushed down the stairs. He spent a lot of time in the hospital with concussion recovery.
Yeah, like 2 years of hospital homebound, maybe. That's what he had.
There you go. Homeschooling wasn't really a thing back then, so like if you weren't in school, you just weren't getting anything. So yeah. When Adrian's Med first came on the scene in the first opening scene, I was like, I can still see his 5 o'clock shadow. Like they needed a little bit more makeup because you could tell he, was late in the day. So I do want to mention this. Didi Khan, who played Frenchie, explained why her character disappears halfway through the movie, which I didn't even kind of realize until I was reading this. She said the script was unfinished when they began filming, but the draft they were using still included Frenchie. The character was eventually written out during filming, and she was told halfway through that she was no longer needed. The filmmakers ultimately decided to include her in the final cut, though they had limited footage. Khan described the filming process as rushed, frantic, and unorganized, which I can see.
Yeah. Honestly, it feels like they filmed, it was almost like an afterthought. Because he doesn't appear in like anything without
she's got to be that connection
Maxwell Caulfield. Like it's just them.
She's got to be that connection point between the first movie and the second movie. That she knew Sandy and he's Sandy's cousin, but she would be the only person he would technically know at school. You would think there would be more scenes with her, but he has more of a relationship with Dolores, who he doesn't know, like this young girl who obviously thinks that she's dating him for some reason. But so.
And she's Stephanie's best friend, but has never been seen in the same place as her.
Right. That's true. Like, is she even still a pink lady? Because she's not with any of the other pink ladies in any of the scenes.
Well, she's 45. She's got
beauty school dropout.
Yep. There you go.
No graduation.
She has to go to high school to learn chemistry so that she can become a chemist. To make her own beauty supplies.
Because obviously in 1961 they didn't audit classes in college, so she had to go back to high school to do it. So
absolutely.
All right, rounding out the supporting cast, 2 new teacher characters were played by 1950s and 60s movie idols Tab Hunter and Connie Stevens, who of course are the 2 teachers that somewhat fall in love. It's kind of alluded to, but there's no real like storyline there. It's just like they're just chummy a lot, but I knew Connie Stevens from Back to the Beach, which is another forgotten 80s movie. But and then Gene and Liz Sagal as the sorority cheerleader twins. Of course, in the 1980s, they starred in the television series Double Trouble that ran from 84 to 85, but they're most remembered as the Double Mint twins in the ad campaign for Double Mint Gum. Fun fact, they have a sister, Katie Sagal, also known as Peg Bundy of Married with Children fame. So they are all related.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So another fun fact is they were each hired at different auditions. It wasn't until they arrived on the set the director realized they had hired identical twins and the sorority girl roles were created for them. Which I'm like, you never saw the commercial on TV? Did not know these 2 girls were twins? So that's the cast that I decided to cover. Anybody else that I didn't mention that you felt needed a mention?
I don't know his real name, but the guy that played Lewis, I've seen him in some other things. I know I have. I just, it's one of those spaces like a typical person that plays a lot of extras or small roles where I can't really place what exactly he was in, but I've seen him in some other things. Just to mention that.
They had a few small credits, some of the other actors, like they had a few small credits, but if it wasn't like anything that we'd like really recognize,
Right.
And a lot too, especially in 80s movies, you'll find out they did a lot of TV guest roles. So like they've all been on the Love Boat, they've all been on the A-Team, they've all been on Murder She Wrote.
Fantasy Island.
Well,
Matlock.
The Lewis guy, he looks like a mixture of like Bob Saget and Paul Feig in the 90s. I think because I went like down a rabbit hole. I was like, I know this guy from somewhere, and the answer was, I don't.
That tracks. I can see that.
He just looks like
tracks.
Paul Feig.
That tracks. I could see that. I could see that. I did read, and I didn't put in their name, but there are a lot of people that were in the first Grease that returned, and this one was like background dancers, but they were some of the extra Pink Ladies or some of the extra T-Birds and some of the bigger scenes in the first one, and they came back for the second one. But, you know, being the choreographer for the first movie, I'm sure she pulled people that she knew she could work with, because she choreographed and directed the movie. That's a lot of work. So
and the dancing was on point.
Yes.
Like,
why is the spinning in the bowling alley have to be why is there so much spinning in this movie? And why is the spinning in the bowling alley have to be sped up?
I am not a good bowler, and I frequently, when I go bowling, step over the line and fall and embarrass myself every time. And so that whole scene was stressful for me because I was like, how are they not all slipping and falling?
They have the bowling ball. Even as a kid, the last part where they're like, they have the bowling balls in their hand and they're just like spinning around. I'm like, that's not a real bowling ball. Like,
nope.
No.
They're you know,
there's no logic.
Like,
it's the least realistic thing in this movie.
Yeah. So there's no logic.
And I think we've all
sliding.
No.
I know all of us as guys too, we've all had, since we're on that bowling scene, we've all had that desire to do what Goose did and run all the way down one lane and then throw our ball at the last second in another lane.
In the other lane,
I still have.
Exactly.
I think I still think about that every time I go to a bowling alley. I like to try it just once. If I wouldn't get kicked out, I mean, you know.
You will fall. You will fall.
Yes.
It is very slippery.
Yeah, I've stepped past the line before and fallen very hard, so I know exactly what you're talking about. So, yeah.
And it is embarrassing because everyone can see you.
Let's talk about iconic scenes. Oh, man. All right. Let's talk about iconic scenes, favorite scenes. So, Bethany, we'll start with you. When someone says Grease 2, I already know the answer to this question. What's the first scene that pops in your head? And you can sing it if you want to. COOLRIDER.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Her on that ladder. That is what you think of when you think of Grease 2, is you think of Michelle Pfeiffer on that ladder singing that song. It is so good. It's the best part of the movie.
Yeah. And I love how Maxwell Caulfield walks away at one point to let her sing her song, and then magically shows up as she's leaving the theater. Okay, now I know what she wants. I just stood in the back. There's no scenes of him looking behind the curtain, peeking around, I don't want to know I'm here, but I'm listening to every word she sings so I can become this person for her.
Into his face. She's just like, I don't want a basic guy like you. I want a cool writer.
Like your stunt double.
Yeah.
It's such a good song, and it's a really good I want song, and I love that she sticks to it for the movie. She doesn't she likes him because she sees him on the motorcycle. She's not gonna settle for just a whatever kind of guy because is Johnny.
Oh no, but he's a chicken.
He's a motorcyclist guy, but he's not enough.
Oh no, but he's a chicken. He chickens out of every. He wants to look tough, but he has no backbone at all.
Exactly, and she sticks to it. She doesn't change herself to impress anybody. She's just no, this is what I want. And I really respect her for that. And it's a great song.
All right, Chris, what about you? We believe you. All right, Chris, what about you? Iconic scene.
I like several of them. I think that the biggest one for me is the reveal at the bowling alley and the who's that guy? I think that that's very good, the way they introduce him. And I will say though, I was very upset in this movie with one specific thing, that they nerfed the T-Birds so much to be just, I mean, gutless, spineless twigs. I mean, you know, in the first movie, they were nothing like that. They were like, you know, we're going to take the car and we're going to drive it right down your throat, right? But that scene right before he comes in at the bowling alley, they go out there thinking they're going to, you know, beat up Balmuto, and he's got some other guys that show up, of course. And I understand the numbers are not in their favor, but he says, oof, and they, you know, throw their comb and get scared and run in. I mean, like, man, the old, even with the numbers disadvantage, the old, you know, Danny Zuko and his crew. Never
Kaneki would never. Kaneki would never.
It would never. It would never, ever have run. But anyway, that aside, I think that whole idea of him taking on, especially his first, you know, showing up with the motorcycle, and he can really ride. We saw the montage of him trying to learn how to do it. And so it's a nice reveal. And the song is a mysterious sounding kind of song. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I think I'm with Bethany. When I think of Grease 2, Cool Rider is the first thing I think about. The other one is because what as a kid, the music was cool, but the motorcycle scenes were always my favorite. So any of the scenes where he's on the motorcycle, but especially the jump over the pool at the end, like when I saw that again today, I was like, oh, this is. I remember waiting for this scene to come on. So those are my scenes. So what about? Well, let's do favorite scenes or favorite songs outside of Cool Rider, Bethany.
I will say I enjoy the song "Girl for All Seasons." I've always thought I love that kind of like Ziegfeld Follies style thing where it's just ladies in fun costumes coming down and talking about being a pretty lady, and who doesn't want to be a pretty lady in a fun costume? And I like that one. And then, I mean, some of them, like, they're not great songs, but they're clever-ish. And I will say, like, Do It For Our Country. It's funny. It's really bad, but it's funny.
Bad. Yeah.
It's bad, but it's funny.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
I really like the Prowlin' song that the T-Birds do. Especially... I think the fact that when they first auditioned, it's so atrociously bad, and the harmonies are also terrible. And as they do it more, it gets better and better. And in the real, I mean, it's really good. You know, when he starts, you know, they're outside the place where Zinone works, that little gas station, and he starts that tune up for real. And they transition it into working on that song. It's very good. It's very period appropriate. I think it fits that show well. And I like even though it rides the edge of, you know, probably dirtier than you want to take your kid to, I like the Reproduction song, believe it or not.
It is a good song.
It's a good song.
It's fun.
It's got some real, and, you know, it features some moments where the girls sing like the guys and the guys sing like the girls. I mean, but it's in a fun way. Even the lead guy, you know, who for a long time Shakespeare doesn't even, you know, involve himself in anything. Toward the end of that song, even he's singing along with it. So I think that just kind of shows you its appeal, a little bit universal appeal. So
I love
those are two for me, though.
The opening song. Yeah. Is like I love Back to School. The opening song is like fantastic. Of course, I can't hearing that song and hearing, you know, the lead singer of the Four Tops. I always think it takes me right to Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors, but the iconic voice he has. But it's a fun song. I do like the bowling song, the Score Tonight or whatever is fun. It's like all the good songs are at the beginning. Like it's like it hits a point like after the Reproduction song. And then it's just like they kind of like get worse as it goes on. But I do agree with you. The Woman for All Seasons it's not catchy, but it is a good song. And then too, like what I like about it is, and give credit to the director, like showing the behind the scenes of like the guys having to change their costumes and I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, they put a lot of thought into this, like for it to be a talent show where you know, the T-Birds are definitely just phoning it in with their cool song. But like the ladies really, they had costumes, they had a plan, they executed the plan. We saw no rehearsals of them rehearsing it.
They had Eugene dangling above them, dropping leaves on top of them. Crazy.
Leaves and snow. Yeah. Even though Michelle Pfeiffer starts singing her own song that somehow still fits with the song that they were originally singing. And that's what I think what it really misses is there's no great closing song, because even the song at the end, like We'll Be Together Forever, which is like the same theme of the first Grease closing song, which is so much fun. And this is like this slow, trying to be like romantic.
They even do the same dance and it doesn't fit the tempo. Like they do the same. Yeah.
We Go Together is one of the most iconic scenes in the whole movie, in the first one, and it's up tempo. It's a good joyous ending, and this one feels like such a letdown. It's so slow, and I mean, just like Masquerade, when he sings Masquerade, it's just horrible slow. I never want to fast forward a part of a movie, but man, that part, I like. Let me see if I can find the end of this song.
Right. Yeah.
You're right, though. The longer it goes in through the film, the worse they seem to get, I think.
Yeah.
It's like they don't know what kind of movie they wanted. Like, they didn't understand what story they wanted to tell, and so they tried to tell 5 stories, but then they were like, oh, wait, we don't care about this story anymore, so we're not going to tell it anymore, and then we're going to tell this one. And it's all over the place. And so the end doesn't feel satisfying because you're like, I don't know what I just watched.
Like kind of reading now that like it was an unfinished script and it was like they were kind of writing it as they were going. It makes more sense now. I feel like at the beginning they knew what they were doing, and then like towards the middle, and I forgot this movie is like right at 2 hours, and it feels like it on that second half. I'm like, why are we still having songs now? Like, let's wrap this thing up. We go back to the original Grease. There are so many iconic songs in the original Grease, and this one you just have like 2. There's only like 2 or 3. It doesn't have all of the great songs that you expected to have from the first one. The good ones are good, like we really enjoy them, but as it goes on, the song quality diminishes as the movie goes on. So
for sure. But I mean, Grease, you said Grease 2 is kind of piecemealed together. Grease 1 is established. Like, it was already a Broadway show.
Right.
It had run through they had a story nailed down. Like, they wanted to do kind of all the little stories. Like, you had Kaniki and Rizzo and their little story, and you had Frenchie, and you had all of the little stories happening. But you cared about those characters.
Right.
You were interested in them. Like, Rizzo's song is the best song in Grease. Like, it just is. But like, I didn't care about any of those side characters. And one of them was played by my all-time favorite actress's daughter. And I couldn't care less. Like,
and she needed her own, like, I wish she would have had her own real song, but she didn't. Like, they didn't give the characters that needed a song a good song. I mean, instead you got, For Our Country, whatever the bomb shelter song was, and Masquerade, which I guess they had to give Maxwell, the lead, his own song. But like, you're no John Travolta. Let's just say that as far as charisma or vocal talent.
And you're no Olivia Newton-John either. Like,
no. Which. Yeah, that's kind of what I like during that last song when they're kind of singing to each other. Like, she sounds like Olivia Newton-John, and those like high points, like the real breathy kind of light sing. I was like, okay, that's really nice. And then he comes in, I'm like, dude, just why? How did you get this? How did you get this role?
People that are not that great a singer, one thing you don't do is give them a feature slow ballad. That does not do well. It does not serve them well. They need something more up tempo and flashy, that they can kind of hide behind the rhythm of. Poor guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
They kind of hung him out to dry on that one, I think. But
All the reverb couldn't help it. Yeah. So, all right, two quick things. Going back to like two things that you guys mentioned. I do feel like this is like that typical 80s sequel where let's take the things that people liked about the first one and do them again. So, of course, you've got they flip-flop. Michelle Pfeiffer was the tough one, and the guy in Max Caulfield was like the nerdy one that kind of switches over. But even some of the scenes, like the luau at the end, was like, okay, this is supposed to be somewhat like the carnival at the end of the first one. So, but even then, the biker gang comes in, they tear everything up. What did we resolve? He jumps the pool and it's over. Like,
yeah.
What did we resolve here? That
and it gets dark all of a sudden.
And this luau comes out of nowhere.
And it gets dark all of a sudden.
Yeah, it did in the middle. Right.
So yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about a few trivia things, and we'll start to wrap this puppy up. So, the original plans were for this to be the second installment of a franchise of not 3 but 4 movies and a TV show. But when the movie flopped, plans for a franchise were thrown out. Disney ended up adapting the unused script for the third movie, which became High School Musical in 2006.
It took a while to get there, but they had like let it die for a little while.
That tracks.
It took a while to get there, but they had like let it die for a little while, then we'll bring it back. So that we talked about the connection. Though the connection was never acknowledged in the movie, Johnny was originally intended to be the cousin of Danny Zuko from the first film. But Michael was Sandy's cousin, and the writers thought there were too many similarities. So yeah, everybody can't be cousins.
Yeah, wouldn't work.
Yeah, and then Michael tells Eugene that he's staying with his aunt and uncle. These are most likely Sandy's parents, as it's unlikely he has other relatives in Rydell. Chances are Sandy's at college, although that would betray her change at the end of the first movie. Otherwise, she would have already introduced Michael to Frenchie. So, and then this one's quick. The original theatrical trailer features a drastically different version of Back to School Again, which was recorded prior to the involvement of the Four Tops. I want to hear how different those two versions are. All right, box office. Grease 2 was released on June 11th, 1982, but it was no match for the other new release of the week, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, which took the top spot at the box office. Grease 2 debuted 5th behind E.T., Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, Rocky III, and Poltergeist. So it quickly faded from the box office, which is why it was considered a flop. It also had a larger budget than the first movie, which probably didn't help either. So
that's probably the best Star Trek movie there is too of all time. That Wrath of Khan movie. I'm just saying, throw that out there. Yeah, so it was. It was pretty much destined to fail.
Yeah, they didn't think E.T. was going to be the hit that it was. So I guess they thought maybe, hey, a sequel to Grease versus an Alien movie. We got a winner on our hands. Sorry, folks. All right, now it's time to take a look at how well this 80s flick holds up today. It's the Rewatchability Nostalgia Meter. It's our way of measuring how enjoyable a movie is for repeat viewings, along with the waves of nostalgia it brings. Here's how it works. It's a 1 to 10 scale. Any number between 1 and 10 will do, but here are a few parameters to help you decide. At the bottom of the meter is a number 1, means I saw it once and that was enough. In the middle, a number 5 would be a good rewatch every couple of years. And at the top of the meter, the highly coveted 10, which means it's highly rewatchable and full of nostalgia. I'll start with Chris. Where does Grease 2 rank for you on the Rewatchability Nostalgia Meter?
Well, I will say when I found this movie on its streaming service that it's currently on, Paramount Plus, where I watched it this weekend, I couldn't help but notice it has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 22%. So it's not very popular with people out there. Certainly, it may have been more popular in its time, when that Rotten Tomatoes didn't even exist at that point, certainly. So this is, more modern views of it. I think that I used the word forced earlier, and I think there's a lot of it that is that way. Especially the older that I get, right, the more I think that some of the things were forced. I think the music and the love for Grease itself propelled me to like it more in the past. Does that make sense? So I think that I would probably settle on a 3.5, maybe. Let's say 3.5 for me. You know,
Okay.
I enjoyed parts of it. And like I said, some of the music I really did like. It was like, you know, getting back on that bicycle and riding again. You know, you remember it from even long, long ago, and it still kind of resonates. But as far as rewatchability and nostalgia, 3.5 for me.
Gotcha. Okay. What about you, Bethany?
I do agree with Chris. It's not like the worst movie, like I never want to watch it again, but it is not one that I want to watch as frequently as the first Grease. And but like he said, the music is so, a lot of the music, half of the music is so fun.
Right.
And it's catchy, and like I said, Cool Rider has been stuck in my head. I've also got Girl for All Seasons stuck in my head. I got to go up and down the stairs with my arms out, wearing something fancy, and sing it to myself.
Right.
But so I'm gonna give it a 4, just because it has the roots of something really good in it. It's just not.
There in the middle at
Yeah.
a 5, a little higher than you guys, only because of the nostalgia.
Yeah, I'm going to put it right there in the middle at a 5, a little higher than you guys, only because of the nostalgia, like, because it's one that I think about fondly as a kid watching it over and over again. I have good memories of that with my sister and, you know, making fun of her singing Cool Rider. So it ranks pretty high for me in that. But rewatchability, it's not very high. I would watch scenes of it. Like, I would rewatch the opening. I'd rewatch the bowling scene. I'd rewatch Cool. Like, those parts I would definitely rewatch. But the movie as a whole, I'm probably, like, even now thinking back on, like, I may watch the first half and then probably fast forward through the songs I'm not a fan of, just to get to the end where he jumps the pool and then be done. And I will say I do like the end credits with the little yearbook type with the photos and stuff. That was fun too. So
That was good. I like that too.
yeah. I always like seeing credits that give me something to watch. Like, nobody wants to watch a rolling screen of names. Nobody, you know. Unless you're going to put an additional scene at the end like we all do for the Marvel movies, but that's another story. But yeah, so I'm going to give it a 5. So a lot of fun to talk about, a lot of fun to discuss. So, but for our listeners, let us know where you think Grease 2 should rank on the rewatchability and nostalgia meter for you. Send us an email. Let us know on social media or leave us a comment right here on YouTube if you're watching us there. Chris and Bethany, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate having you guys on the show. Always a pleasure to have you both. So any last words about Grease 2 that you want to share with our listeners?
I'll just say, I think I'm more apt and likely to use some of the songs in karaoke night than I am to watch the film in the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's fair. If you can find it in a karaoke.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the problem is if you do Cool Rider, you're going to get in trouble when you climb on top of one of the booths.
Right. You gotta have the choreography's gotta go with
Because you can't sing that song without climbing on something.
Right. You got to have the choreography's got to go with it. Yeah, it's a package deal.
Is it even the song if you don't sit on a ladder while you sing it?
Yes.
Oh, and quick shout out to Blanche, who I think is always funny. She makes me laugh.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Yes. My favorite scene with her is when they're doing the test and she's cranking the alarm with the hard hat on. So yeah, love it. Yeah, and she's also she's the secretary in Splash, which is also hilarious.
Yeah. Why does she not know T-Birds? She knew the T-Birds in the first movie, and then in the second movie she keeps calling them the T-Bones. Is it because those T-Birds are boneheads? And she's dissing them and saying,
I would go with that. I didn't even put that together. But just
it's just really bugging me today.
It is unusual. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
That's a wrap on another trip through the greatest.
Yeah, it didn't make a
decade
lot of
of
sense.
cinema. If we sparked your memory or helped you rediscover
All
a
right. Well,
classic,
that's a wrap on another
please head
trip
over
through
to
the
Apple
greatest
Podcasts,
decade of
leave us a
cinema. If we
5-star
sparked a
review.
memory or helped you
Show
rediscover a
support
classic,
fans like
please
you.
head over to Apple
Make sure you're
Podcasts
always
and leave us a
in the loop for the
5-star
next
review. It
deep
truly
dive.
helps
Hit
the
that
show
follow or
reach
subscribe
more
button.
fans like
And
you.
if you want to help keep
Make
the
sure
show
you're always in
running,
the loop for our
consider
next
becoming a
deep
partner
dive.
at
Hit that follow or
buymeacoffee.com.
subscribe button. And if you want to help keep the show running, consider becoming a partner at buymeacoffee.com. For more 80s goodness, our digital headquarters is always open at 80sflickflashback.com. And while you're there, check out our TeePublic store for original designs and movie-inspired merch. Well, thank you, Bethany. Thank you, Chris, for joining. Thanks, everybody, for listening. For the 80s Flick Flashback, I'm Tim Williams. Where does the pollen go?